If we imagine the entire history of Chinese art, or even Chinese civilization itself, as a 2-hour Pixar film, then the Song Dynasty would be a single frame of quiet and stillness. Just one frame, but a valuable one, a dramatic momentary pause. The Song painting tradition, which embraced an aesthetic of radical simplicity and subtle elegance. As an animator, I'm deeply influenced by this legacy. Animation typically relies on abundant movement to drive its storytelling. However, my animation B, created in 2024, takes a different approach. It uses deliberate pauses and quiet transitions to build a calm, reflective mood. This leads to the question, how can stillness, rather than constant motion, be used in animation to create emotional depth and internal rhythm? B shows its stillness subtly across transitions, crafting an internal rhythm that is both coherent and understated. Rather than other animations, uses still frames for dramatic impact. Inspired by Mark Sternberg's concept of dynamic immobility, these scenes appear static yet are charged with emotional and symbolic tension. Think of the freeze frame before a dunk in Slam Dunk, or in my case, the freeze frame during the Paper Rabbit's transformation. It pauses just for a moment. Suddenly, you wonder, have we traveled to another world? These tiny visual pauses, like the girl and the rabbit standing on an endlessly looping escalator, or the linear shadow of a deer, don't interrupt the story's flow. They stretch time, making room for thoughts and memories. The same scene as the frame before the girl falling. The girl freezes and the giant fish opens its mouth. It's only for a second, but you can feel her panic. That momentary pause is not just a control of the rhythm, but more like a projection of her inner emotions. The momentary stillness presented in B also echoes the visual philosophy of Northern Song Dynasty paintings, where the ideas of stillness in motion and motion in stillness coexist harmlessly. The scene depicted by Fan Kuan in Travelers Among Mountains and Streams. The seemingly tiny traveler and his mule in the silent mountains brings us a sense of movement, as if we can hear the bells on the mule's neck and the traveler's footsteps. This ultimate aesthetic of the Song Dynasty was reflected 1,000 years later in the magnificent buildings in Havoc in Heaven. And also in Naja Conquers the Dragon King. This is undoubtedly a kind of inheritance of traditional culture and aesthetics by Chinese animation. Guo Xi, a painter from the Northern Song Dynasty, was an earlier practitioner of what we may call Liu Bai, leaving a blank space in the painting. In his masterpiece, Early Spring, vast areas of blank space between the mountains invite the viewer into a space of imagination. In B, there's a moment when the girl runs into the forest and then disappears. What's left is not just an empty frame, but a lingering sense of her presence. Later, by the lakeside, a deer's reflection reposes in the water. Even though the deer itself is gone, what remains is a shadow, a blank space that holds emotional weight. These examples of spatial blankness and temporal pause serve to gently strip us from the real world. They take us into an inner space. In Nerja Conquers the Dragon, the moment when Nerja commits suicide is frozen, but under the still picture, there's a sadness that overflows the screen. It is full of dramatic tension. The poses and stillness of B are always hidden under the picture. This kind of subtle understatement follows the girl's calm wandering in a real or illusory world, in a non-exploratory way under the guidance of the paper rabbit she created by herself. The tranquility here adds a surreal dream color. It also contains the aesthetic tradition of the Song Dynasty, elegant aesthetics. B not only shows the wonderful use of pose and stillness in animation, but also has continuity. In B, characters wander between reality and the surreal world. At the beginning and end of the film, the girl sits quietly in front of the window. The camera zoomed out and focus becomes blurred. Slowly, it seems that two worlds are overlapping. It is hard to tell whether this is reality or fantasy. Just like the B's core question, is the world we live in true, real, or merely imagined? This was not sudden or dramatic, but is supported by the quiet atmosphere and soothing rhythm established in the storytelling. Like a storm skipping across a still lake. The storm skimmed across the lake, leaving ripples calm and beautiful. The water splashes are the poses and stillness in my animation B, and the skipping storm, in this metaphor, becomes the central symbolic force tying the entire film together.